Right, so while I was happy with what the electrician did in terms of laying the cable and putting the subboard in the garage and getting it into here, and we've got this conduit coming up here, we've got a couple of power points up here and a lovely light there. What I wasn't so happy with is the way they've set up this cabling. We're coming up through the bottom plate here. They've drilled a hole there, that's fantastic, but then for some reason they've decided from that point on that rather than going inside the framing, they're going to go outside the framing. So they put this board here, this bit here pokes outside the framing, we go up above, it's all outside the framing. The light above me, again, I'll show you that in a minute, it's all outside the framing. Whereas, you know, I wasn't here on the day that the electrician came. I had to go to work, and so I wasn't here to tell him what I wanted, but I just thought it would be obvious that given what I've done on the other side of the shed there, putting the walls on and putting the ceiling on, that I'd want the cabling all inside the framing rather than outside the framing. So what I'm going to have to do now is disconnect the wiring and rearrange this setup here so that it's all inside the framing. So you can see more of what I mean here. We've got this cable running up here outside the framing near the ceiling. All of a sudden here it pops back inside the framing, runs along here until we get to this little rafter here, and then it comes down outside the framing, back inside the framing. We pop out of the framing again, heading into this light, and that light works wonderfully, but it's just the right height for me to smack my head on it as I walk past. I'm pretty sure, I'd have to go through my emails and check that my original communications with the electrician, we decided we were going to put the light on the wall over here so that we wouldn't have this problem. So that's what I'm going to do as well. Disconnect all of this, sort that box out there, put the light on the wall, put my walls on, put my ceiling on, and we'll be done. So the first thing I've done is turn the power off in the subboard in the garage so that I don't electrocute myself while I do this. And I've decided that the easiest way to do this is to disconnect this cable here from the light. It's got these little handy things that allow you to drop the actual bulb, LED bulb down, and it just hangs there and access the wires. So I'm going to undo those, I'm going to pull this cable out, then I'm going to sort out all my stuff over on the wall there, and I'll kind of cut this cable to the length I need, put my wall on, reattach the light, and then rewire it once the wall's already on. So let's try this now. I've taken a photo of the setup here so that I know how to rewire it in the same way so that it works. Right, I can see there's a little cable tie in there which I'm going to have to snip, and then I'll pull this cable out. It's got the cable tie removed, so let's pop this cable out. So I've just marked on the framing here where I want to chisel out a gap for this cable to go in. And so I just am now going to set my skill saw at the depth that I've marked there. When you do that, it always pays to unplug your skill saw so that you don't actually accidentally pull the trigger and chop your finger off. I want to set it for a depth of 25 mils. Which is about there. plug it in, and cut. So that should now slot beautifully into that gap, and I can put my wall over the top of it, so it's not going to sit outside the wall like we had before. Alright, so I've made this little bit of board here with a bit of ply, a couple of offcuts of timber to sit in behind the power outlet box there, and I've got this temporary board in here just to indicate where the front face of this needs to touch the back face of this. So this is, you know, standing in for where the wall would be. So all I need to do now is screw that off on this side against the frame here, and then I'm going to screw this little power box in place into the plywood. And because there's a little bit of a gap in behind there, I'm just going to cut off some little wedges and put some PVA glue on them and slot them in there, so this just sort of pushes out and is firm against the back of this board here. So once that dries, this should be fixed and in place, and if you kind of push on it, it won't move when you're going to press a switch or plug something in, and that should work, I think. So we've got this wall panel in, got the insulation in, I've cut a hole in this panel, measured it, cut a hole with the jigsaw, and I've slotted the outlet through the hole, and that all seems like it's going to fit in place beautifully. So the only thing left to do now is I've got to drill another 20mm hole right in here so I can pop this cable here through the hole and into my light, which is going to kind of end up around about here. Right, that wall panel's in and it's all screwed off, and I managed to find a washer lying around in the garage, which I've slotted over that cable, and it's just that hole was a little bit messy in behind there, so that just has tidied that up nicely. So now got to do the rest of this wall, and because it's just straight rectangles, all the cutting should be pretty straightforward. Then the ceiling, the insulation, and most of this wall is ready to go. I've cut one wall panel ready to go, but before I put it in, I just wanted to show you something over here. I said my father originally built this shed 30 odd years ago, so he could work on a beach buggy that he was building from scratch. He welded all the chassis together. I think it was powered by an old Ford Escort engine, had some sort of steering assembly that he'd stolen from some wrecked car or something. But anyway, he's written on the building paper here, petrol cap level, petrol pump inlet level. And I'm not exactly sure why he's done that. I'm no engineer, but if you do know, please let me know in the comments. But anyway, this is the last I'm going to see of his little notes there, because now the insulation is going to go back in place, ready to put this wall panel on. Alright, that wall's all screwed off now, and I'm ready to do the ceiling. We've got the wall installed on this side, and on the other side there, ceiling panels all in. I've put these braces back in just because when I sort of gave the walls a bit of a shove, there was a little bit more movement there than I was happy with, and so putting these triangular braces in has now reduced that. We've got the light in and wired up, looking good. I'm not going to smash my head on it anymore.
Thanks again for watching. I really appreciate all your support. If you'd like to help this channel grow, please consider hitting that like button, subscribing, and we'll see you back here soon for part 3 of the Master of None NZ Shed Renovation.